A lot of families assume that aging in place simply means staying in your home longer. But what many people don't realize is that aging in place only works when support systems exist around you. Because eventually, almost everyone needs help with something. Maybe it's transportation, maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's figuring out who to call when something changes unexpectedly, or maybe it's simply having people around you who notice when you're struggling before things turn into a crisis. And for many older adults, especially those living alone, the hardest part of aging isn't always the medical. Sometimes it's disconnection. And today's conversation is about a growing movement designed to solve exactly that problem. A movement built around community, relationships, volunteerism, and helping older adults remain independent and connected as they age. Hi, I'm Corpus, a senior transition strategist and real estate expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I help families figure out how to pay for senior care, especially when a home is involved. And one thing I've learned through helping families navigate aging, housing, and care decisions is this. The earlier support systems are built, the more options families usually have later. Because aging well isn't just about healthcare, it's about community. It's about relationship, and it's about having the right people around you before life becomes overwhelming. And that's why I'm excited about today's conversation. Today, I'm joined by Claes Elfving and Mekhala Shekar from San Ramon Valley Village. San Ramon Valley Village is part of the broader village movement, a community-based model designed to help older adults stay independent, connected, and supported while aging in place. And Claes brings a deeply personal motivation to this work after watching his own mother experience a serious fall while living alone. And Mekhala brings a unique perspective shaped by both healthcare and technology leadership, along with their own experience navigating concerns around aging parents and community support. Together, they're helping build something that many families may not even realize exists yet, a local support network designed to reduce isolation, encourage independence, and help older adults continue thriving within their communities. And today we're going to talk about what the village model actually is, why community matters so much as we age, what families often miss before a crisis happens, and how organizations like San Ramon Valley Village may become increasingly important in the future of aging in place. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we help families navigate senior living, real estate, and everything in between. Hosted by senior transition specialist Dale Corpus, this show brings you expert insights, real solutions, and stress-free strategies to make senior transitions simple. Ready to dive in? Let's go.
All right, and we're back, everybody. Claes, for listeners meeting you for the first time today, can you share a little bit about your background and what originally inspired you to help start San Ramon Valley Village?
Well, as I thought about this question, I remember going back to my high school transition into college, and I thought about being interested in helping people as a part of my career. I was interested in going into social work and checked that out and volunteered in my community. I grew up in Cupertino and San Jose. And I was also interested in psychology, helping people with counseling. I volunteered with some suicide prevention hotline and substance abuse counseling, but ultimately decided to go into human resources. And I worked with human resources in the federal government for 42 years before I retired recently. So that's a little bit about my interest in helping people.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you shared a story about your mother experiencing a serious fall while living alone. Can you walk us through what happened and why that stayed with you?
Yeah, my mother lived alone in Cupertino, and she had been having issues walking up and down stairs and getting around. I luckily had bought her a life alert, a necklace that she wore around her neck, which was great. But then after a while, she decided to change a light bulb in the chandelier over her dining room table. So she climbed up on the chair onto the table and to change the light bulb in the chandelier and ended up falling onto the floor. I think she broke her arm and couldn't move for a while. And the only way she was able to get help was to press this life alert necklace, and they were able to come get a key to her front door from the lockbox out front and rescue her and take her to the hospital. So, yeah, that was great. So I was reminded I could never forget what a horrible situation that was and how that would have turned out if we didn't have that life alert situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a powerful example because it shows how quickly, like, everyday situations become life-changing for older adults just living independently. Now, another question is, what gaps are you seeing locally for older adults that made you feel like something more was needed?
Well, since I've retired, we've gotten involved. My wife and I joined the Rotary Club, and it has kind of morphed into this San Ramon Valley Village experience. I'm interacting with seniors on a week-to-week basis and see that people express that we go to help. They express loneliness and wanting friends and socialization, or they're afraid to climb up ladders anymore, which is a good thing. But then they take care of things that need to be at the top of the ladder. So they ask for help. I have no problem climbing up a ladder and changing light bulbs or pruning branches off a tree and those types of
Yeah.
things. And that's what people need help with, getting around, and people are more and more isolated when they're alone.
Yeah. And it's much needed service. And I'm glad that we're doing this podcast to just bring awareness that this actually exists because I think a lot of people may not know, you know? Um, Now, Mekhala, question for you. So, what personally drew you into the village movement and all this work?
Yeah, multiple factors. First of all, as an immigrant, the healthcare industry in this country seemed so complex
Yeah.
and then expensive. I mean,
Right.
everything from insurance to the services that are provided by the physicians, the providers, and the entire industry seemed so convoluted.
Yeah.
So that is what initially drew me into switching careers from pure engineering products to doing technology in the healthcare industry. And then moving into our community here in San Ramon, California, I quickly realized that we were in a community where we had neighbors who were um, trying to age in place, who had adult kids living elsewhere, either 100 miles away, 1,000 miles away. And very often we found them to be isolated and they were too proud to ask for help. My husband and I would find ourselves helping them out with their tech issues, with little things when they got sick or they needed help going to a hospital, then maybe going into their house, collecting their mail, taking care of little things around their house. And as we thought about it and as we were aging, we were just thinking about how difficult and challenging it would be for us as immigrants without family nearby. Plus, we also found our own parents in our native country struggling without their kids living nearby. So it was, you're seeing both sides of the challenges. And being in healthcare technology and working for a healthcare organization, I quickly realized that it was very challenging to move the needle in terms of affordability, in terms of providing quality care, and prevention was probably one of the best ways to avoid people having to even think about healthcare. And what I mean by that is loneliness causes a lot of other issues, mental and physical. And if you were to prevent that by providing support locally, then you're reducing the cost of healthcare. So it's work that you do at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
So that was the inspiration behind why I wanted to look into this.
Yeah. I want to segue into what is the village model? Some people might be, hearing this village term for the first time and not even know what it means. So for people hearing this for the first time, what exactly is a village organization?
So the village movement started in the Boston area back in the early 2000s here in the US. It's modeled after the senior care and the support care that is provided to communities in the Nordic countries. And the movement spread across the whole of United States. So now there are 200 plus or maybe even 300 chapters around the country. It's all
Uh,
about community support, bringing in volunteers from the community to support seniors living in the same community to help them age in place. That's like a simple summary.
okay, then here's the follow-up question that I have. How is the village model different from traditional senior living or home care services?
The traditional home care and senior living options require people to pay money for that and have professionals come in and that are pretty expensive and care for people. Or you go to an assisted living home that costs money and you have professionals there and that costs money. The traditional village model is performed by volunteers, and you can become a member of a local village and have volunteers help you provide transportation, help you with home repairs and gardening services and things around your house for very low cost of, $200 or $300, $400 a year for these volunteer services. The costs are really just to provide for some administrative things and a website, and also we try to upgrade services to our members by sometimes paying for supplies for the crafts and happy hour hors d'oeuvres or something like that when we meet.
Okay, so some of the work could be done, fixing items in the house, right? What other services does San Ramon Valley Village actually provide the day to day? I'm sure there's a pretty big list, yeah?
The service list can be endless. It depends on the needs of the community. So each individual requesting the service may have a different need every day. So the beauty of it is you can leverage the services as you experience them. Any non healthcare related support that you need, it could be as simple as just providing companionship. You want somebody to just hang out with you, watch TV with you for a couple of hours, read a book with you, or just move, maybe potentially moving some light furniture around or helping out with, during the pandemic, grocery shopping was such
Yeah.
a huge need in the community that the senior citizens would love for the grocery shopping to be done and delivered. But there are also seniors who would love to get a ride to a grocery shop and see, do a little outing, right? Or it could be something as simple as I want to go visit my friend in the next town. Could you give me a ride? Many, many services. So we have a system wherein they can just request for the service either on the phone or in the website, and they get matched with a volunteer in the local zip code who will be able to provide that service.
Speaking of zip code, I wanted to ask you, what geographic territory does San Ramon Valley Village cover? Is it only the city of San Ramon?
The San Ramon Valley technically includes Alamo, San Ramon, and Danville. It goes out to Blackhawk and Doherty Valley. We
Okay,
cover that whole area.
perfect. And who is the ideal member for a village organization like yours?
Somebody who wants somebody to come into their house and help them with the light home repairs or simple gardening. Somebody who comes home from the hospital and needs some care for a few days, like a meal provided, or somebody to walk their dog for a while, or those types of things. We also have partnered with many organizations in the community and nonprofits that provide services to seniors who come in and give a presentation about the services that they provide. So we offer a lot of presentations as well by Contra Costa Senior Legal Services, Connected Horse that provides Alzheimer's care, and a number of different organizations.
I have a question. What surprised you guys most once you started building this organization?
It's the volunteers, the overwhelming response that we had
Mm.
when we put out requests for volunteers. There are many people who feel similarly, especially the younger generations. They want to volunteer, they want to support the community, looking for volunteer opportunities. So, just quite honestly, the response we've received from people interested in going out and helping the senior citizens with whatever service is required, that has been overwhelming. So, that was a surprise. We thought getting the volunteers to help with these services would be the toughest part, but that's been the easier part.
Good to know. Now, can either of you give some real life examples of situations where the village model makes a meaningful difference?
Yes, I get calls for people who want me to come help them with problems around their house. Most recent example is a woman who had her interior of a house painted, and the contractor did not install the curtains in her living room appropriately. So now they dragged on the ground, and she wanted help raising the curtain rod up 2 or 3 inches because the contractor would not come back to make that repair himself. She also decided she wanted a small couch moved upstairs to a room on the second floor, and she wasn't able to do that. So we're helping her with that. Those types of things where, it's no big deal, but a single person living by themselves can't do that. And so they ask for some help that is easier for other people to do.
And typically, when adult kids or other family members who can provide such services are not around, it's those adult kids who want this type of a service for their parents, for their family in that demographic. So it's that generation that gets excited about such a service because they are typically that sandwich generation. They have
Yeah.
younger kids at home, they have older aging parents that they need to take care of. So it's those adult children or could be your niece or nephew that would love for such an organization to support the adult parents.
Yeah, no, pivoting a little bit, let's talk about loneliness and isolation. How significant is loneliness and isolation among older adults right now?
From the recent National Institutes of Health statistics that are available, we've seen or we've heard that at least a quarter of Americans aged 65 and older have reported feeling socially isolated.
Yeah.
And that's in that demographic. And there's another one third of adults in the 50 plus that have reported feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Our Surgeon General in the previous administration had really brought a lot of advertisement
Mhm.
around the epidemic, as he called it. And like I mentioned earlier, that's what threatens the senior health and the risk of cognitive diseases, heart disease, premature mortality.
What are families often missing before things reach a crisis point?
I think they miss preparing for this as time goes on before the crisis happens. Like in my situation, I explained, if I hadn't done much of anything until my mother fell off and broke her arm and couldn't move, then that could have been a fatal injury because she couldn't get to the phone or get up and get help. So I had prepared by getting her this life alert necklace. But thinking of those things in advance, doing what you can, it's not that big of a deal to get somebody a life alert, get somebody connected with some people in the community. Check out those resources and have them available when it may start becoming necessary.
Why is community such a critical piece of healthy aging?
As much as you think you can live in your house and you are comfortable, you have everything taken care of by technology, by the shopping services that are necessary, and you have a handyman, there's something about that human connection, getting to know people in your community, understanding what is happening in the community that is so critical. So, more than services, people don't even realize that they are isolated. They kind of get used to being alone, just watching TV, being on the phone, and that human interaction is really vital to keep their cognitive memory and mental health sharp. I mean, like we discussed, there are people in the community who want to volunteer and who want to help out with this. So it's critical that people leverage that community that is there to help them.
Yeah. So you mentioned that getting volunteers was actually easier than you thought. Like, I want to flip that question around. What has been the hardest part so far about building San Ramon Valley Village?
It's still the volunteers. So we have this overwhelming response from volunteers, but really getting committed
Hmm.
volunteers who are able to stay on for the long run, people who understand that this is a flat structure, this is not hierarchical. It's all about you coming in, having the vision, and self-managing the responsibilities that you've committed to, and taking accountability. That is something that we have been struggling with. With each experience, we have found ways to address the situation, and also it's lessons learned. What can we do better
Yeah.
next time around for our volunteers that we continue to work on? It's really about finding the right volunteers who have the aptitude to self manage
Yeah.
and thrive when there's chaos. I mean, as volunteers, you can come and go anytime you want. Nobody's holding you to it, which makes it difficult to really have a structure that persists. So you should be comfortable with some of that ambiguity that comes with it.
Um, Moving on then. Now, how can local professionals or organizations support what you're building?
We have a need for organizations to partner with us and donate space for us to have meetings, donate opportunities for come into their place of business to have lunch or have a happy hour. We have a need to partner with assisted living homes in our area to go play bridge and games and share opportunities for introduce our members to their facilities and have a happy hour or lunch sometime. Those types of things would be great.
And I would add, we really need champions. We need champions in the community who can bring those people together, share with them what our village concept is and how it can be successful, and really promote the message, the vision of the village movement
Okay.
in the community.
Nice. What are your hopes for San Ramon Valley Village over the next few years?
We want to grow slowly but surely. We want to attract the volunteers that are willing to work and help us out and provide services to seniors. We want to have our members get the word about us and join our organization. So, slowly but surely, we want to increase our membership and our volunteers. And we would love to be in the San Ramon Valley area for indefinitely.
I would like to add, it's really the community, that happy community that we have been envisioning, the outcomes of that. If we are able to move the needle a little bit in that space where we're able to improve the health of our community, help these people age in place, then that is really a great indicator of a successful organization. That's where we would like to go eventually.
The last topic I want to cover is the future of aging in place. Do you think more communities are going to need models like this moving forward?
Yes, I thought earlier, but I don't know that it's been said yet, but 100 years ago, families stayed together more. Children took care of their parents more than today. Today, people separate and move on in their own to different places. And so, therefore, I believe it's important to have other resources in community to take care of people who are by themselves. And so, just as our affiliate areas, and we are affiliated with La Miranda Village in Lafayette and Orinda, and Mount Diablo Village in Walnut Creek, and Clayton Valley Village in Clayton. We're affiliated with those places, and every community needs a village volunteers to help out seniors and this type of model. So if there's an area where this village is not there, I would think that it would be helpful to get going.
And how do you think aging in place is evolving compared to previous generations?
As Klaus mentioned previously, there were families that took care of their seniors, adult kids who took care of their parents. There were a couple of decades when shifting to retirement meant going to assisted living or going to a place that was just meant for 55 plus or 65 plus people with all these services uh, put together in those communities. That is now shifting to this generation wanting to age in place, leverage the technology and enabled resources that are available to them. As Klaus mentioned, that button that he talked about, that was really the start of helping folks live in the house, and modifications that you can make to enable you to move from the first floor to the second floor,
Yeah.
the accessibility issues, widening the doorways and the shower area, retrofitting it. That's what people want. They want to live in their house now, and that, especially with COVID, I think that we saw that shift happening from living in large communities in smaller spaces
Yeah.
to living within in their own house with modifications. So
Yeah.
the services, the need for services and the socialization will still be there. And that's what the village movement hopes to provide for
Excellent.
this generation.
What advice would you give adult children trying to support aging parents right now?
Buy a membership for their parents in the San Ramon Valley Village.org, or look out for them earlier on and try to anticipate what may be coming up in the near future.
And one could argue, why do I need services or a volunteer from the village? I kind of use services from another paid organization. Here, the volunteers are all vetted, background checked, and so are the service providers. We have our own directory of service providers where we vet each one of the providers. And that's a huge plus that the village offers.
As we come to a close now on this episode, I just wanted to see if there was anything maybe I should have asked that I didn't. And also, if somebody wants to get involved with San Ramon Valley Village as either a member, volunteer, or supporter, like, again, where should they go?
Yeah, please check out our website at www.sanramonvalleyvillage.org.
Yeah. And contact information is out there. You can email us, phone us, talk to your neighbors who've heard about it, or reach out to Klaus and myself as well. We are all listed on our webpage.
Perfect. All right. Klaus and Mekhala, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing what you built with San Ramon Valley Village. And what stood out to me the most in this conversation is that aging in place is not just staying in a house. It's about staying, connected. It's about relationships. It's about the community, and it's about having support systems in place before families reach a crisis point. I really appreciate the work that both of you are doing to help older adults remain independent and engaged and supported here in the San Ramon Valley community. And for those of you listening or watching, if you're navigating a senior transition, whether it involves housing decisions, care planning, or figuring out how to pay for senior care, structured guidance is available. You could go to simplifyseniortransitions.com/start here. And if you'd like to learn more about San Ramon Valley Village, volunteer, or support the mission, we'll make sure all the information that they mention is included in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps more families discover these conversations. Thanks again for tuning in. Klaus and Mekhala, thank you for being guests on the show with me today.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you,
welcome.
Dave.
You're welcome. And for everyone else, I'll see you on the next episode of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast.